SGC here, and we are back for BNA, Vanguard. Starring Jackie Chan. That's basically why I'm watching this. He is a horrible human being, but let's get back to the film. Directed by Stanley Tong. This is Jackie Chan's and Stanley Tong's 7th collaboration. Just to name a few, they did Kung Fu Yoga. They did ZZ12, The Myth, Police Story 3 and 4, Rumble in the Bronx. So, I mean, we all probably have seen, or I have seen, Kung Fu Yoga. That was a Chinese-India collaboration on a cultural front for just this cultural partnership. That was just, oh boy. And Stanley Tong also wrote that and directed that. And he did this Vanguard. Vanguard was originally slated to be released back in January of 2020, but because of world events of pandemics, it is now delayed, or it was delayed until September. And for some reason now, it's popping up in places. So anyways, directed by Stanley Tong, starring Jackie Chan, and starring no one I know. And the story is an accountant is threatened by the world's deadliest mercenary organization, and covert security company Vanguard is the last hope of survival for him. Ooh, fancy. So I mean, Stanley Tong comes from a background of stunts, and I mean, I've heard good things about Police Story 3 and 4, Rumble in the Bronx, but whatever happened to nowadays, I have no idea. Yeah, so like, hilariously enough, I actually thought this movie was, for some reason, released already, like way earlier, like in the summer, because I remember seeing this trailer, I think back last year, 2019. So I was like, is this another Vanguard film, or did they just name it differently in Chinese versus English? So I went back, saw the trailer, and oh wow, we're in for a ride, people. This is why I'm doing this review for everyone, so that you might just watch this and not watch the movie. I mean, granted, I am not the target audience. If you didn't know, Kung Fu Yoga was Jackie Chan's highest grossing box office in China. So people are watching his stuff, regardless of the actual quality, marketing, trailers. So yeah, in this trailer, there's a lot of like really bad CGI again. And I know CGI is expensive, so I'm always wondering like, why deal with CGI if you can't afford good CGI? And the trailer, the action is there, but again, it's always filmed poorly, and which is kind of weird because Stanley Tong comes from a stunt background. I guess he just can't direct stunts, fight scenes, and Jackie is doing his like American funny guy kind of like action comedy. So there's that to look forward to. My biggest gripe with all these Asian, Chinese, really action stars that are, you know, getting old is that they're not bringing up the new wave. Like, why who's gonna replace Donnie Yen and Jackie Chan when they're gone? We got Wu Jing in China, great, but he has no international fame. Like, you know, Westerners aren't gonna be like, hey, you know Wu Jing, we know Wu Jing. But anyways, I really have no expectations for this. I mean, this movie was filmed in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and Taiwan, and apparently he almost drowned in this movie. It's 108 minutes. It's in Mandarin. It's a mainland China production. So let's get this going. So this is before, and this is after. Okay, we are done. 147 minutes, including credits. We are finished here with Vanguard. So I have a lot of thoughts actually with where this movie went. And first off, I do have to say that this is better than Kung Fu Yoga. And why? Just narratively, it feels a lot better in terms of the collaboration with different governments, like the Dubai police. It was very positive. They didn't make them look too inferior, and it was more of a collaboration. I don't remember too much about Kung Fu Yoga really, but then the feeling I have is that it was just Jackie Chan being a joke, action comedy joke, and didn't work well. I mean, that's the sort of reason why nothing came out of that, even though it made so much money. It was, you know, India, Chinese collaboration, cultural collaboration, and that was that. So the big thing here is that even though Jackie Chan is front and center on the poster, he's taking a huge step back. Now granted, being the CEO of this security company and being on the front line doesn't make sense, but in the entire movie, he doesn't have too much to do. Like, there is a long fight sequences on a plane, like an African plane, and then an African river, and then a very short sequence where it's super, like, probably less than 2-3 minutes of him fighting. Which is nice because it does let the other cast members do things. Especially with Miya Muqi, who was also in Kung Fu Yoga, and I don't remember her being actually in it, but now in this movie, being the character that she played, where she's just, strong and like, I'm gonna get things done. Like, first, when she showed up, it kind of felt overact, but as you settled into her character, it was fine. And I think it was pretty balanced. Like, there wasn't too much like raunchy things about her character in terms of using her as a honey trap. Like, her teammates were relatively respectful, because I swear if this was a Hollywood production, they would make fun of her even more and sexualize it even more. But Chinese production, less so that was appreciated. We have Yang Yang and Ai Lin, both who are sort of supposed to be the main characters, but Yang Yang sort of like takes another step back, where he shows up in the beginning, disappears for a while, and that's it, and doesn't do anything else. Ai Lin basically is the main character here in terms of action, storyline, but it does get sort of tricky in terms of like, who is the main character? Is it Jackie Chan? But he doesn't really do much. He does a lot of exposition in terms of what's happening. Ai Lin has the most action sequences, and being from a background with stunts, Stanley Tong and I think the fight choreographer like choreoed everything really well in terms of the action sequences. But the actual execution of it all, like for example the camera angles or the blocking, could be really improved. And the CGI is another improvement, I would say, over Kung Fu Yoga, where the animals are done better, I would say, in a sense, because there was a few shots where we have the love interest of this movie, Farida, and she's with a lion, and in the beginning I was like, there's no way this is real, but it feels really real. But then it sort of degrades itself. I seriously swear I feel like they put most of the money was the shot with her and the lion, and then later on they're like, yeah, we're gonna not spend too much money on that. So we got like some pretty fake like lions, hyenas were interesting. They did interact with a lot of physical objects. Like there was one sequence where they're like, yeah, go get them, and then the guy opens the door and the hyena crashes into it. So that was kind of nice. But then the overtly CG was the cringe, was all the car drifting and the stunts with the cars, and also the jet skis. Oh god, that jet ski, that was really bad. Like, I know they wanted to film that and make it very like tension building and oh my god, and maybe in China this is totally fine, but being me used to Hollywood CGI, I was just like, holy, it just feels like they CGI the river and then CG'd him on a jet ski and then just drag the same image around to make him move. That's basically how I felt. Now granted, I know why they do this, because it saves them a lot more money. Like there was one sequence where they crash into a mall with a couple of cars, all of it is CG, and understandable, because doing that practically would have been really expensive. And it's funny because they do stop in the mall, and that's when the cars are real. And it's like, oh, you rolled up into the mall and you took a shot of them just stopping. And that was interesting. Jet ski was really bad. There's one stunt CG where this character jumps off the second floor, lands, and then rolls, lands and then does like a jump off, which reminds me of Captain America: Civil War, where Cap jumps off the building and he like lands on the ledge of the other building and then he just rolls off. That CG was kind of like awkward, but I feel like for some reason here, if they pulled back a lot more, it wouldn't have looked as bad, because especially like they CG him land and then he like jumps forward in towards the camera, And again, with the camera, like, yeah, like I feel like with a lot of the fight sequences, if they pulled back, it would have been a lot better. So there's that. But I do appreciate that Jackie Chan stepped back and let these people do more action sequences. Now, will there be a Vanguard 2? I wouldn't like not be surprised, because I mean it is a very franchise friendly, because they just need another case and they can just have everyone back and do more action. And I do wonder where it's gonna go. Like, I mean, originally this movie is supposed to come out back in January. It's a whole New Year's theme as well. And they do say Happy New Year at the end of the film, which is awkward because it's November. But maybe they should just delay it till 2021 and then release it. That wouldn't make any difference, really. And according to Wikipedia right now, it's sitting at 49.7 million at the box office for wherever. Because it did come out in China in September of this year. Oh, another thing was how they made everyone look good and not too stupid. Like with the Dubai police, they had a good collaboration. The US military is involved, but they don't look too dumb. But the villains, oh my goodness, the villains really cringe, irked English dialogue and a lot of overacting. And I guess that's what they like in their caricatures of like villains in the mainland, I guess, in terms of these types of movies where it's just overact and a lot of emotions and just doesn't jive well at all with the rest of the scene, but whatever. So yeah, one big narrative thing I sort of wish they fixed was that they made this covert securities company to be like a secret government thing, like Mission Impossible kind of thing. And I feel that would have been narratively more appropriate, because for some reason this security company can access so many things. They're geared so well. They have a minigun like contraption. They have like military weapons and just a lot of good tech. And it's just like, how are you a security company? Doesn't really feel like it. So there's that. And another thing though, I would have to say that I don't remember Kung Fu Yoga in terms of the stunts. I mean, granted, you can probably say that Jackie Chan hasn't been doing his stunts lately, but in this movie, it definitely feels like he's calling it in, because there's literally a joke where it's about him not doing the stunt and taking the stairs, and he said it's a good idea. Because like the stunt that I talked about, like second floor jumping off, because right after that happens, he's gonna do that, and then the character beside him is like, no, hey, the stairs over there, and he's like, good idea. And yeah, so there's that. Interesting enough, they do keep in the sequence of him and the jet ski in the credits where he almost drowned. So that was kind of intense to be this like, hey, I almost drowned. Because I literally remembered he almost drowned, but I was like, when would he have drowned? And I was like, oh, that sequence. Because basically he hit a rock and then the jet ski landed on him and he was caught under it. Scary things. But interesting to be like, okay, where is he gonna go with this? Because he has another movie coming out, which is, I'm assuming, pretty action focused, which is the Chinese Zodiac 2, if I'm reading it right. Yeah, Chinese Zodiac 2 is coming out. And he still has a few more movies, but I don't know how action focused they are. And yeah, Once Upon a Zodiac. No, that's a voice. My Mercenary Career. Who knows? Or Five Against a Bullet. Well, he's doing a lot of international things, because I mean, like, again, like this was in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and Taiwan. And like looking at his upcoming from just on Wikipedia, like Five Against a Bullet is being filmed in Mexico. My Mercenary Career is in Kazakhstan, France, and Israel. That's pretty cool. But yeah, like this movie happened and you know what you're getting into, but it's still a little bit better than what you thought it was gonna be, so there's that. Fight sequences are typical fight sequences. Story is pretty forgettable and characters are forgettable. But I feel like, you know, these are the small little steps that we can get maybe some more people who have like acting under their belts. Like we have a lot of great stunts people, I mean, from like the stuff that I watch off YouTube, but like, are we gonna get more Asian sort of, you know, can we get an Atomic Blonde John Wick? Really go back to the roots of Hong Kong action, but doing it with like current day safety standards? Who knows? So, with all that said, this movie has been an improvement, and I guess that's that. So, with all that said, keep liking, keep watching, and subscribe. And remember to share, because sharing is caring. And that's it for this BNA of Vanguard. Keep safe and stay healthy. Out.